Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Goldberg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite listening platform. And here we go, on to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Well, I'm Marla Goldberg, host and creator of Guided Spirit Conversations podcast, and we're here again for another wonderful show. I'm really excited to have this next guest on with us. His name is Joshua Shapiro. Josh has been involved with the crystal skulls since 1983 when he saw one made out of amethyst in Northern California. He felt such a strong connection with this artifact that since that time, he has devoted his life and resources to sharing the best information he can about these crystalline artifacts. Joshua is the author of various books dealing with crystal skulls. Some are printed books and some are ebooks, including, wait for it, he's got 6 that he is offering to our listeners for free. So lots of, really affordable ways to learn more about this subject. Additionally, Joshua has offered a number of other public talks throughout the world that discuss current information about UFOs, the Bible Code, and the Hollow Earth. He is currently working with extended family within 10 countries to set up a network of world centers known as the Centers for the Advancement of Humanity, whereupon they have been sharing analyzing interviews with amazing individuals on their Rumble video channel. Welcome, Josh. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, and I have one of my friends here with me, so people understand what we're going to be talking about. There's another friend that also has to be shown.
So is that lapis? Is that a lapis skull?
Yeah, lapis lazuli.
Beautiful.
It was gifted by someone who read one of my books right around my birthday. I don't know, it was about 8 or 9 years ago. This one is called the Rabbi because he has this circle on the top,
cap,
like a skull cap, which wouldn't be surprising since I was brought up Jewish in Chicago. So
I know we have that in common.
But he's heavy, so I'm going to have to put him down. But I have another one I'll show here.
Perfect. And so for those who are just able to listen to the podcast, if you can get on the YouTube channel so you can see these crystal skulls, they're not something I think you'll want to miss. So that's beautiful, truly. And so let's talk about the crystal skull. What is it? And are they a naturally formed formation, item, or is this something that is carved by a human?
The crystal skulls is, as the name implies, they are skulls that are made from different gemstones. When they first came out, let's say publicly, which was in the late part of the 1800s, early 1900s, it was mostly quartz crystal skulls that were being found by ancient ruins like Mayan and Aztec, Toltec ruins, mostly Mexico, Central America. But as we move forward into 2022, where we are here today, we have carvers all over the world who are making skulls like this one I showed you from lapis lazuli was made by a modern carver. And they're all different kind of gemstones. So we're basically talking about a skull. Now it could be a human looking skull, could be an alien looking skull, could be animal, could be just the carver's inspired, so he creates something with 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. There's a lot of variety with all of them. There are 4 different types, and then I'll let you ask your question. There's contemporary, which are the ones the modern carvers are making. There is old skulls, which are between 100 to 1,000 years old. There are ancient skulls or very old skulls, which are either 1,000, 2,000, up to who knows how old, made by very advanced people. And then there are, for people into the paranormal, there are apported crystal skulls, which just come out of seemingly nowhere. So like when we lived in Seattle, we were dealing with a medium who had objects that came out of his mouth, and a skull was one of those objects. And he told us we had to be there at that session. So I actually had a vision of a skull coming out of his mouth, but I thought it was wishful thinking, but it actually did happen. And when it did come out, it was very powerful. But once it acclimated itself into our physical reality, then its energy became different. So go ahead,
And
Marla.
so my first question is there a difference between if it's a human looking skull or if it is an animal looking skull? Does it have different powers to it?
Well, I wouldn't call it powers. I would call it vibrational frequency or energy. And uh, the four different types that I talked about, yes, they have different frequencies of energy. The very old crystal skulls, some of them are extremely, extremely strong. They help people, like, let's say a person has some kind of physical problem or emotional problem or an illness or whatever. There have been people who have been cured by them. For me, a lot of times what happens is when I'm doing my creative writing, the vibrational frequency. So now I got to show you this other skull. This is my main one. He's 10
Wow.
pounds, made out of smoky quartz crystal. And he was done by a Brazilian carver. His name is Portal de Luz, Portal of Light. Portal de Luz is Portuguese or Spanish. So,
Toulouse, yeah.
right. So a lot of times I'll have him around and he will help me with my writing or my creative skills or whatever.
So do
So,
you talk to them and ask them so you're about to sit down to write? You take out Porter de Jalouse and you say anything to them? Like, do you just set
well,
the intention telepathically with the
well,
crystal?
it's a combination of different things. First of all, this crystal skull has traveled all over the world. He's met some of his, he calls them the older brothers and sisters, which would be the very older ancient ones. So when he's there, he's receiving from them. They're sharing frequency and energy with him. He's been to sacred sites, um, many meditations for world peace with crystal skulls. So what I'm saying is this: the crystal skull itself will start to record and pick up the vibrational frequencies that are around it. And then when I share him with other people, it'll be shared. Now, as far as the communication, this is the way that I explain it. Okay, for me, my gift is I hear telepathic communication in my thinking voice. Okay, so when
Hmm.
Portal, shut up, when Portal wants to talk to me, like he said something, calls me dad. Um, I hear it in my thinking voice, but I'm not thinking it. It just comes in. Okay. So that's how I hear him in my thinking voice. Now, who is speaking to me? This is very important because I have not only myself and my divine light partner, Katrina Head. You know, we're the Crystal Skull Explorers with our crystal children, which I'm showing you some of them. Um, Different people have told me that they have received a communication from their personal crystal skull. So what I believe is happening is, and this is my theory about it, is that there is a living consciousness that says, I want to have, so it could be like spirit, dimensional beings, galactic beings. I don't call them ET, I call them galactic beings. It could be any combination of this. They want to share energy, knowledge, information with us. So what they have done is they say, well, human beings look at each other and we look at our head and we think this is where the essence of who we are is, and we talk to each other, we look in our face. So it's the same with the crystal skull, except these living consciousnesses are able to work through the crystal somehow, and they can talk to you telepathically, or maybe you meet one, you have dreams with them. So this is what I think is talking to us. It's a living consciousness that, especially quartz crystal, has the ability to allow this type of communication to happen with human beings. So that's what I think happening. Now, he doesn't always talk with me. All right. A lot of time when I'm writing, it's my own, but he's enhancing the energy. And it's like the words are just coming, or my gift is expanded. It's like how I felt when I was in Brazil. It's like when I'm in Brazil, all my gifts just are sharpened because of the high vibrational frequency that exists there. And that's kind of what the crystal skulls have the capability of doing. But for each person, it's a different experience. So what I'm describing may be unique for me, but somebody else may have a different way which their crystal skull is communicating with them.
So let's say I get a brand new skull. What is the first thing I do to this with the skull to the skull? Do you cleanse it? Do you set intentions through it? How do I, what could you walk me through it, please?
Okay, so there is no set procedure because each crystal skull with their guardian, that's what we call them, the guardian, has a unique relationship. Okay, so the first thing that Portal de Luz showed me, so I recommend this to other people, is get familiar with this skull. Meditate with it, go outside with it, go with it to a place that you feel a good energy, like a lot of people like to go by bodies of water. Like we have a man-made lake near here. So sometimes the skulls will say, Dad, take us to that lake. We want to be by the water. As far as cleansing it, that's probably a good idea too. You can use incense or you can wash it with water. But this is what the key thing is. As you spend time with the crystal skull, some form of communication will come about, which is based on your unique gifts that you have. So, for example, my gift is I hear my mind's voice. So naturally, Portal de Luz is going to use that. But sometimes some skulls may communicate with me. I'll feel the energy, and then I'll have to interpret what they're trying to tell me. Okay. But other people have different gifts. Maybe you have visions. So you're meditating with the skull and you get a vision of a past life, let's say. Or you're meditating with the skull and you're asking, I got this challenge. I need to figure out what can I do. And all of a sudden this idea will come to you. The real key is, since the people coming to your channel are all on their spiritual gift, is you have to learn how to trust your own gifts. Okay. So when you get an intuition, I don't know if that's right. Then you completely shut down the communication that spirit's trying to give. No, follow it. See what happens.
Trust
So
it.
exactly, trust it. Go with it. What's the worst thing that could happen to you? Nothing changes. What's the best thing that could happen to you? A door could open in your life like you've never had before. Is it worth it? You better believe, buddy, it's worth it. Okay, I'm a typical Aries, all right? I've had so many experiences like that. I have to say that. So the skulls work in the same way. They kind of like know who you are. They know what are your gifts. They know how much energy they can give you before they overwhelm you. There are some of these very old skulls you could be overwhelmed with if you go in their presence and you're not ready. And we've had that happen with people who have told us they've seen some of the very old ones. And it took them a long time to integrate the tremendous energies that were connected to it.
So now I've got two questions. First, does size matter?
No.
Okay, size does not matter. The second question is when you're integrating with it, can you say to the skull, slow down, slow, like I need the energy to come in softer
Yes.
or easier?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Well, there's got to be, sometimes when you're dealing with an unknown process, as I think working with skulls is for me, because it's relatively new to me, um, knowing how, just the basic boundaries, because after a while you get, it's like any relationship, right? You learn how to communicate, you learn what to say, what not to say, and do it. But until you learn it, having parameters, for me at least, makes it a little bit easier to process.
Right. It's like you're on a new journey. Okay. And a skull comes and you go, I don't know what to do with it, what direction to go. And so what I tell people is don't put a time limit on it. Like, for example, I had one friend who bought a skull through us from England based on the skull we have called Geronimo Golden Eagle Eye, which holds the Native American or the indigenous people's energy. And for like the first week, nothing was happening. But then he had a dream. And then as soon as the dream came, everything changed. Okay. So I think they test us in a way and they say, we're not going to do what you think's going to happen. You need to go with the flow and just allow the experience to happen with it. And sometimes you get a skull and it's only there to work with you for a period of time, and it says, okay, now you need to pass me on to someone else. Okay. So we've had a few of our skulls that's happened. Katrina heard, okay, it's time to move them on and pass them on. So you have to be ready for that too. I mean, they're just a powerful tool to help us to get connected to who we really are, which is divine children of God. We're immortal. There is no time, there is no space where we exist on spirit. So the skulls is a tool that helps us to get in touch with it. Now, I heard from Portal de Luz a message, and I guess this is for some of your listeners. In the period of time that we are now, and I'm not allowed to say some of the things that are going on because we don't want Marla to have any problems. You are light workers, and tools like the skulls are activating your gifts. Get ready. All the light workers, we're going to have a lot of stuff to do, especially the people who are sleeping that have no idea what's going on. We are being prepared to help them, to send them love. I saw one of your other messages when you were promoting this, talking about love. This is, I think, a very important energy that the skulls do too. I mean, Portal de Luz, a lot of the time, I'll feel a connection in the heart chakra when I'm holding him, but especially when I'm holding a rose quartz skull. Rosalita, boy, she's all about that love energy. And she is human size with a movable jaw, made by our friends in China. So we have a
Wow.
lot of different skulls. It, because of the jaw, it's too difficult for me to hold and show her, like here. And I only showed the two large skulls because I want people to see, what does it look like? Because we have little tiny ones too.
That's so. I'm so glad to hear that your skulls are not all ginormous, nor
No,
4 inch or bigger. That you do have small. I just picked up a little one. I haven't started working with him or her because frankly I wasn't quite sure how. I was waiting for our conversation, so I will now know
just
what to do moving
just
forward.
just hold and meditate, and the process begins.
Okay, I will do that. So let's talk about crystal skulls and why they're vital for our future world.
Okay, so I believe the very, very old skulls, which people call ancient, have incredible energies that they've stored over hundreds or thousands of years, and also have encoded inside of them uh, special information and knowledge for humanity. So the key that I think is important is up till about maybe 30, 40 years ago, there weren't that many crystal skulls that were known. But in the 70s and 80s, all of a sudden carvers start carving them. And if you go like on eBay, you'll find hundreds of them. Okay. So why did we go from a period of time where most skulls were hidden, very few were known, to a period of time now where there's probably thousands? Like, for example, we did something called a Crystal Skull World Day, and there was a group in Canada that I spoke to that had over 1,000 crystal skulls in the same room that were meditating for world peace. Can you imagine how powerful that must have been?
Amazing. Absolutely
Right.
amazing. And to answer your rhetorical question, I just kind of jump in there. Why are there more since the 70s to now? Because we're waking up. We've been waking up
Exactly.
more and more through that period of time.
Right. And so since we're ready, then the skulls start coming out as a powerful tool. But what the skulls tell us is what they're looking forward to is the day where we no longer need them as a tool to help us, where we are self-sufficient. And it probably, over the period of time, I'm trying to think how to say this in a nice way. There have been energies and forces that have tried to stop us from awakening to who we truly are. Okay. And I think
Yes.
a lot of us know that. And so we have tools like the skull, which empower us to discover ourselves. But eventually there will come a period of time in the future where we'll have everything we need right here because we're divine children of God. Everything is inside of us. We are a unique molecule in the body of God, each of us. It's like creator is inside. I asked a question one time and I got an answer. Remember the still small voice I'm talking about? And I said to whoever was listening, I wonder why creator would be concerned about each of us, because each of us compared to the immense reality and universes and everything that exists through creator, it's huge, and we're this little tiny spark. And the voice said, why, it's through your unique experiences, that's why it's important. Now this is a very simple message, but it's a very powerful message at the same time. So number one, it's saying that you're not good or bad, you're just exactly who you are, and you choose through free will what experiences you have, and creator receives through every experience we have. And even if there are parallel earths, which there definitely are in my opinion, which I think the Mandela effect has to do with that too, the other us's are making different choices. Like we have a lot of science fiction shows where they'll show parallel universes and they'll be almost the same, but they're never exactly the same. So
Right.
this is creators, a unique opportunity to experience through each of us what it's like to be who we are. And the key is, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses because we're human beings. But the thing is, if we make a mistake, if we do something wrong, hey, we get another chance to do it all over again and do it better or do it differently. Okay. Or,
Our path
if,
continues.
right. Or if you need to be knocked on the head doing the same thing over and over, eventually you'll get it that there's a different way you could do it where you'll be happier. So that's it. So it's very simple.
I so
So,
agree
yeah.
with
So,
that. So wait, I have a question. You're
okay.
the ancient skulls or any of the skulls. Do they have a premonition about who will own them, or do they want specific people to own them and those are the ones who find them?
I have
Or
to
is
I have to ask Portal because I have my opinion. Let's see what he said. He says they're picking us, we're not picking them. So,
okay.
like for example, when I received Portal de Luz, it was at a crystal conference, Crystal Congress in Sedona, Arizona, and there was a woman I spoke to who's very familiar with the most famous crystal skull, the Mitchell Hedges skull. Oh gosh, and I can't remember her name. This is the bad thing about turning 67 is the memory. Um, but she was a spiritual medium. She actually had a voice from the Mitchell Hedges skull speak through. So she said, "Could I hold your skull?" And she held it, and she was saying, the quartz that this skull that this became a skull, it already knew it was coming to you even before it was carved into the skull. This was already preordained. And then there was this carver in Brazil who I know, Leandro's his name. He's very famous. He's carved many skulls. I went to his shop and, he's carving it. So he's being guided how to carve it and so on. And then eventually it comes to me. We say everything happens in divine timing. So I believe that, the skull that you're supposed to have, it's meant it will come to you. There are a lot of people I know who believe that in maybe other lifetimes they've been connected, and this is the same for me. I've seen this guy blue skull that I went looking for in Peru, only like a 400-page book talking about a skull I haven't seen in the physical, but I see spiritually. And they say there's this skull communicating to me, that I've never met, but I feel like it's going to come to me eventually in this lifetime. So I think that they pick us. This is the best way to answer. Do you agree, Portal? Yeah, he says, "Stop, Dad. You got other things to say."
I love that. So, what has been your most powerful spiritual experience linked with any of your skulls?
Any of my skulls? Okay, so the Mitchell Hedges skull was found in British Honduras, now called Belize, in the early 2000s. And a lot of people have had a very powerful experience with that. So I asked the Guardian because I was interviewed in his house for the Sci-Fi Channel when they did the special on crystal skulls because of the Indiana Jones film that came out that year. They unfortunately did not air my interview, but they at least gave me credit as an advisor. So I was in his house being interviewed, and I asked him. Bill Holman is the guardian of the Mitchell Hedges skull. I said, "Bill, could I come back and just, spend time do meditation with the skull?" And he said, "Yes," in his house. So Portal de Luz was with me and two other skulls, Geronimo Golden Eagle Eye, who I mentioned before, and then a little tiny rose quartz skull, which again, my memory, because I don't work with her that much, I've forgotten, and she'll be upset with me, I'm sure. But anyway, so we had 3 skulls. So I put them like in a triangle around the Mitchell Hedges skull, Portal de Luz, Mitchell Hedges skull face to face, and the other 2 skulls were behind the Mitchell Hedges skull. I'm I have a MP3 player, so I'm listening to the music that I resonate with, which takes me into a higher state, and I'm just going really fast with the music. First part of that meditation, I felt like I was at total peace. So I say, now I know what heaven is like. Okay, because it was so peaceful. I could have sat there. Now I'm an Aries. I'm never going to sit for a long period of time. I always want, what's the next exciting thing to do? It's like I have so many projects I'm involved in and so many things I'm looking at. So, but in that particular instance, I was totally happy to sit there for the first part of the meditation, totally, peacefully and honestly. But then all of a sudden, I picked up, this is my gift of feeling. There's a presence in the room. I have no idea what this presence is. Even to this day, I still don't know. But I can go back into the experience. Like I can feel it right now. It was like at an angle. Oh gosh, I forgot what I did with my water. So there was this angle. I need to talk slower. Give me a moment here. It was at an angle on my right side. So the Mitchell Hedges skull and the other 2 skulls are on a short table. I'm in a meditative pose on the ground, and there's this energy there. And it felt like it was beings from a higher dimension. That's the only way I can say it. It wasn't one, it was a group. And they knew everything about me. That's what I sensed. And why they showed up at this particular time, I think it was because they helped to shift my vibrational frequency. There are not a lot of Aries people I know who can be in the neutral and kind of be mostly calm. Okay. But that's what I felt was happening to me is I was like, I
Josh, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat. You're frozen.
control, more peaceful. I
Josh?
Does what is hear me?
No, that whole statement that you said was frozen out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you
Because I
now.
hear me. I see me.
Okay. Now I
So
can
what I
hear
was
you.
saying, what, okay, so what I was saying, probably the energy, it's probably the energy of this experience. It was really high. Okay. So these beings, like I said, um, they helped me to be more peaceful and calm, to be in the neutral. That's what I was talking about. And I think they shifted me vibrationally to help me to prepare for whatever I'm here to do, because I know it's more than crystal skulls. I mean, I have connections with galactics. Um, I have a lot of visions. We have the center that you mentioned as another project. I still know I have books to write. I'm interviewing all kinds of people. I'm really a jack of all trades. So I think what it was is they came and they were enhancing the essence of who I was. That was really powerful. There's another one I could sneak in there. Do I have time to sneak in
Sure,
another one?
you do have yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. It's called Going to Peru to Amaru, which is this dimensional door that's by Lake Titicaca. That was very powerful too. And Portal de Luz was involved, you said, with the crystal skull. So I'm just going with what flashed in my head. So Amaru, I believe, is, well, first of all, I have to describe it. It's a stone door, but it has like a little door and then a huge door over it. Okay. You'll have to go on the internet and look it up on Maru, but it's a huge stone door by Lake Titicaca. So we were leading a group of people, spiritual people, going to Peru. This is the only tour Katrina and I have ever led. And I wanted to make sure that we visited that door because I heard all kinds of crazy things going on with it. So I'll tell you my experience and then I'll tell you what the door is about briefly.
Okay.
And again, of course, there is a book called Messages from Argus, which is free for everybody. You want to make sure you get it if you like the story. No, I'm sorry. The Blue Skull is where I told that. I get confused with all the different things I talked about. So I took Portal de Luz in front of me, meditating. There's a song I've written called the Crystal Skull theme song, which I played at Crystal Skull conferences, and it is on YouTube. So I was a musician in the past. I know. So I don't know where these melodies come from, but it talks about the crystal skull. So I sang that song listening on an MP3 player because I couldn't bring my guitar with me. While I'm in front of the door, I told the people I would be doing that. I said, if you want to sing with me, because at the end I sing one family, it goes and it's really powerful. I had a Siberian shaman come up to me after the Crystal Skull conference in Holland and said she really enjoyed that song. So I think it, was from spirit. So anyway, I did a meditation in front, and the energy there was extremely powerful. Now, prior to doing the meditation, I dropped Portal, which is unheard of. I mean, I've done presentations where I throw him up in the air a little bit. I never dropped him, but for some reason I dropped him, and there was a little crack which no longer exists that showed up there. So I think some kind of energy came and helped him out, and the energy was very powerful. Now, why this is significant is that there's another person named Jerry Wills who has spoken and been interviewed that said a shaman taught him how to, do a tone in front of that door, and he went through the door like it's a dimensional door. I didn't go through, but after he told his story, I start hearing the scientists on the other side, because the bottom line is the scientists that he met on the other side said, your whole universe is there in front of you. It's this construct that you see there. We created it to understand our reality, but we didn't put any life into it, and life magically appeared out of nowhere. So could we be in a computer simulation? That's the point of this. So did Portal de Luz make a connection with those scientists on the other side? I think that's why he had the crack there. So those are two really powerful, unbelievable stories and examples of possible experiences. If any of your listeners decide to have their own crystal skull, that could happen to you.
That's really great. So it's I wanted to, because you talk about the books, you've talked about your ebooks. I know you're offering them to the listeners complimentary. What do people tell us about the books, and how can people attain them?
Okay, so since I've been sitting around not doing so much, I'm used to going out and lecturing because of the crazy things out there, which I'm not allowed to talk about. Um, I got energized to write ebooks, and also because circumstances in our life, we are not hurting financially. Now, we're not wealthy, but we could comfortably pay our bills and everything. So I thought this would be really neat that I could write these books and share them with people. And I just made it a point every time I'm interviewed, like I was on Coast to Coast one time, so I had to get one of these books done before I went on there. So there's 6 of them. Crystal Skulls, free ebook I've done for a very long time that is available for people. Tartaria, which a lot of people have not heard about before. This
I
is
have not heard of it.
a civilization, advanced civilization that existed 200 some years ago on the earth, that the people in charge of our history totally wiped out all evidence and didn't mention them at all. So there's a book about that. And also on a Rumble channel, we have the interview I did with my friend Nancy on her show, High Road to Humanity, where I have a slide presentation to show about Tartaria. So I investigate crazy things. And if I find that there seems to be evidence that shows it, then I'm going to write an ebook and let people decide. So there's one on Tartaria. Flat Earth is another controversial subject that I'm having big discussions about, because a lot of people keep thinking that we're in a solar system with the sun in a vacuum of space, and we're not on a flat planet that's not rotating with a dome over it. So I have only a 500-page book to show how we may not be on a globe. Okay. And that gets into intense discussion. My last guest, I couldn't talk about that with him. He didn't agree with that. I didn't want to upset him. But there are things that show that could be true. So that's 3 books. 2 key experiences that I have that show me our future. I believe between 2037 to 2040, we will have total peace on the planet. We will be connected with galactic beings, brothers and sisters. We're going to have a world beyond anything that we can imagine. So I had 2 experiences that called Messages from Argus. Argus is who I become in the future at that time. So one of those experiences is him communicating to me when I'm in Brazil what the future looks like. So another crazy book. I have another book which talks about whether we're in a computer simulation or not, which has links to videos I found on YouTube. And the last one is what I think is really going on behind the scenes, which came out in May of 2021. A lot of those things I think are still going on. Again, I can't talk about a lot of that, but I will tell your listeners, Telegram is the best place to read all this stuff every day. Instead of going on CNN or Fox News, I go on Telegram and I find out what's going on, like what's really going on in the Ukraine. The last guest we had in our Rumble interview, which is Gene Decode, which I'm sure some of you people have heard. This is the fourth time I've spoken to him. Ukraine was a big subject that he talked about. So how do you get those free ebooks? You need to send me an email. Just say you were on Marla's show, free ebooks, and I'll send you all of them. One of them you have to download. The Flat Earth book at 500 pages is too big for Gmail, but the other 5 will come with a attached to an email. crystalskullexplorers@gmail.com. That's the one to send it to. If you have any questions about anything we're talking about, send me an email. I'm Aries. I'm going to answer those emails right away because I don't want to fall behind. And I still have emails coming from Gene Decode talking to him. I think we're up to about 13,000 people who viewed them, and we talked to him last week. So lots of interesting things are going on. And also I'll give you the website, or you can just go there. CSE.crystalskullexplorers.com is our main website too, if you want to know more about that. But you can ask me in the email, or perhaps Marla, when you do your post, you'll have the email.
Well, we are going to have all the links, all your addresses, so that people can easily find you, find your website, find your email, and be able to reach out to you.
One last thing I want to say about the ebooks.
Yes.
Telegram, I've seen this repeatedly said, and I believe this. There is a strong possibility that almost everything we were taught in school is not correct. Okay, that's where these ebooks may be beneficial. It's talking about our history, the nature of our world, even who we are. There's a lot of things that we were not taught properly, in my opinion, and this comes from my coma experience, which is talked about in one of the free ebooks. So
isn't it like the game of telephone, sort of? I mean, that's what just came to me intuitively. It's like what happened was repeated by somebody, and the person that listened to it, well, they got some of it, maybe not all of it, and then it just shifted based on their perception, because 50 people can look at the same situation and have 50 different perceptions of what happened.
no, it doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with an intentional sharing of a specific perspective in every way possible. Media, entertainment, medicine, education, business, everything, social media. So that's where it comes from. But people are waking up and going, hey, this doesn't make sense. Or another key message I heard was the most important word that we have now is the word no. This is not morally right for me. I will not do it. I will not follow it. Why do you think there's so many people protesting all over the world about what's happening right now? I'm talking about, again, on Telegram, they're showing the video of the people doing the protest. We're talking about thousands, maybe 100,000 people in one place, more than are going to see Trump with his talks, are coming together and refusing to follow crazy things that are being asked of them. So follow your intuition, go with your discernment. If it doesn't feel right, say no. Even if your family, like I had a friend in God, I can't remember, next to Hong Kong, Singapore. Thank God they have guides whispering to me. Singapore. We had many talks where he's saying his family is trying to force him to do something that wasn't right, and thank God he listened to what I said. So, but not everyone is going to follow what you say. You just have to send them love they're not going to be open to sharing of spiritual things either. You just have to accept everybody's making their own choice.
Well, they have their own path to walk and they have their own
Exactly.
lessons to learn on those paths. So if they choose to not follow the discernment that's given to them or the messages that they hear and taking it as poppycock,
Right.
then that's their path to walk. And what happens through that path is based on their decisions.
Exactly. And I can't tell you that all the information I have in these free ebooks that this is the absolute truth. No, this is what I found. This is information that came across. These are my experience. See if it has value for you.
Exactly.
We have to learn how to agree to disagree. That's it.
And still be able to include people in our lives and not just kick them to the curb because they don't agree with you. That I
Exactly.
don't understand. To this day, I don't understand that if you don't agree with my politics or the way I see things or the way I live my life, you can't be in my life. Well, for me personally, my response is that's okay
Right.
because I'm not, it's funny. I said to my husband the other day, so a situation came up, and I said, have you ever known me to be a lemming? Did you ever know me to just follow blindly without, researching or intuitively reaching in to figure it out? And then he was like, okay, okay, uncle, because he was sort of questioning something. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not. You have to have your own mind and your own belief systems and be able to stand within your own conscience
Right.
by how
And
things come to you.
right. And conversely, when something new shows up, you can't just say, "Nope, sorry, I'm not going to look at it." No, maybe there's something there. Like, um, well, we'll just take flat Earth, but I'm not going to get into it. Why do so many people believe in it? That was my question. There's got to be something there that's that's really making sense to people. I got to find out what it is. So after doing it for 6 months to a year and coming up with this huge book, then I show people why did I decide that there could be something there.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. I need to take a pause. It's charity shout out time. So, charity shout out is when I bring to light my guest's charity of choice. And so we've got from Josh feedthechildren.org, which anything with children and animals, you've got my heart. So, let's talk to you about why Feed the Children, why people should help, what, and any details you want to add.
Well, this is a very serious problem that's going on right now, mistreatment of children or children not having enough food. So that's pretty much why I selected it. It's a total change in our world that's going to go on. I mean, you're hearing a lot of stories of even famous people that are doing things which they shouldn't be related to children. So I just think any charity that has to do with helping a child or like, I don't have any children of my own, but through Katrina's daughter, she has a new child that was born. Sathan is her name, and she's adopted me as her papa. And so through her,
Oh.
I'm now having the experience, of working with children and trying to teach her things and play with her. And she's an Aries, so I got to keep her busy all the time. So she just also inspires me that the children are so important right now. And also the other thing too is that we need to take care of them because see in the vision of the future that the children of the future are not going to know anything about um, wars or misery or pain or people fighting each other. That's not going to be a part of their reality. So I just think the children are our future and we need to honor and respect them. And that was the charity I found that I thought of all the children who are hungry in the world. That shouldn't be happening either. We have prosperity for everything. So my heart went out to it and I said, in honor of Sethian, the children, it's got to be for them. So that's why I picked this charity.
Well, thank you for that. Please, everyone, check out feedthechildren.org. Help them in whatever way you can if this resonates with you or if there's another children's organization. But be sure to research to make sure the money goes for the children and not for administrators, because that's one of the sad parts of charity. Um, So feedthechildren.org. Check them out. See how you can be of service with them. Thank you, Josh, for that. So where do people get crystals? Where do people find crystals?
Well, there's many crystal stores that exist. I mean, we're near Atlanta, and we know a number of centers. They all sell crystals. You can get it on eBay. Crystal skulls is maybe a little more difficult. Of course, Katrina and I, we have this amazing carver in India, and we've been helping, quite a few people get a skull. I think there may be a person that just found me that may get the largest. We call them Geronimo Juniors. It's based on our Geronimo Golden Eagle's Eye skull. Maybe getting the largest one we've ever had done. So it
Wow.
may be close to human size or whatever. Um, or if you go into a spiritual center, a lot of them carry crystals or different gemstones. But the key is, like, if you have a whole bunch in front of you, does one call out to you? Do you feel a connection? You really need to feel connection with the stone. And it's the same with the crystal skulls. You have to feel a connection. So, sometimes we have ones that are already done. We'll put up pictures, and I'm amazed. I think nobody is going to say anything, and all of a sudden, two or three people are, the skull is calling to me. I love that one. It's great. So, each person has, their gemstone that they resonate with, the color of the stone they resonate with. It's the same with the skull. So I think you can find them all over. Their websites that people are selling crystals. It's like it's a really big deal right now, and it's a really powerful stone to have to use in your spiritual evolution and growth.
Well, I am definitely curious of getting a larger one. Like I said, I got a little mini, maybe not as big as 4 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. But I'm going to try playing with that and then seeing about what else calls out to me. That's for sure.
Right? That'll be your training skull.
So let's talk about, real quick, the Center for Advancement of Humanity. What is the center? And how can people check it out?
Okay. So what's happening right now in our world is many people are being inspired to create either a humanitarian or a spiritual project for the planet. And there is things going on behind the scenes, which I can't really get into, that are going to allow prosperity to be returned to the people. Okay. So this project is one of those projects. And I already know that it will have the proper resources come to it eventually. But Spirit said, and I argued with Spirit, I said, if I do this again, another project without, support of resources, people are going to get really upset with me. Nothing's going to happen. And Spirit just said, no, you need to start working on this. So it's a vision that came in 2018, just after we moved to Atlanta. I was with some friends. We were talking about creating a center. And the next morning, I started busy writing and I had visions of it. But then I forgot about it. But then this year, like in February or March, I think it started after I had this month period of time. I think it was an ascension shift or something where I wasn't doing well, and then I became vegetarian right after that, and I'm doing much better. Then I heard a voice say, you need to start building this. So what we've done is we've created this Rumble channel. We're showing people what subjects are we going to cover, because it's a spiritual center to tell the truth on everything. Like all these things I'm talking about, crystal skulls will be involved, UFOs, ET. I got a message already that will become a spokesperson for some of the galactic people. So on the Rumble channel, we have a couple of spiritual mediums. One of my friends, the Pleiadians, is speaking through them. Another was the Arcturians. And then we had another lady we just talked to who had the Ponti, which is another star nation that most people don't know about. So the purpose of the center is to gather the very best information using the best media that we have in everything, and just totally share it and set up sister centers all over the world. Each sister center, if it's in another country, then we're going to honor their country, because they're going to have different subjects that are important to them that may not be important to us here in the US. The vision is to eventually, when the universe provides and all these activities start happening with the funding, is to actually buy a building. This is what I'm told I'm going to wind up doing. Buy a building here in the Atlanta area, set up the first one, hire all these young people and the question will be, what makes your heart sing? If you don't know the answer to that, I can't hire you. So in other words, when a person comes into our center and sees people dancing and singing and hugging each other and having a great time, they're not going to want to leave. And they may say, hey, I want to help. I want to be a part of this. So it's a combination of different things. So UFOs will be a subject, different world mysteries, all these subjects I talked about we'll look at. We'll have a university there. We'll have special teachers come in to teach. We'll have online classes, in-person classes. We're going to do everything. Also, another thing, which unfortunately we don't have time to talk about, but it's going to be important. There will be certain digital currencies that are going to be important in the future. And we will be educating people about that, how that's going to work, etc. So we're going to cover many different subjects. So how do people find out about it? You got to email me at Crystal Skull Explorers
At
at
Gmail.
gmail.com. And then I'll send you the link for the Rumble channel. I'll send you the link for the Telegram channel. I'll send you the email. I'll send you the one page I created that talks about what we're going to do. And we're looking for other people in other countries to hold the energy for future sister centers. Or maybe you want to just get involved with us and help us. Or you could just become a member. We'll have members. So I have no idea what the eventual form of this will take, because as more people come in, it's going to keep expanding and growing and growing. And it's basically just to empower people to have the truth on everything. So I think that that will be the goal. Now, I have a connection with my future self from 2040, and I asked Argis, that's his name, Argis, does the center still exist where you are? He says, oh yeah, it's a big deal. Never let it go. So that's what I can share about it. So it's really something I think that's going to make a difference. And we'll have alliances. We already merged with a group in Italy called X-Plan, which does the same thing. They research world mysteries and the paranormal. So we're already part of that. And then on the video side, Metaphysical Hub, the head of that, we're also in partnership. So we're starting to grow slowly but surely. But the videos right now is the most powerful. I tell you, if you watch some of the videos and the people we interviewed, your whole world could literally shift and be changed.
Wow.
It's really some powerful stuff there. And we're hoping to have 2 to 4 new ones. And I will say this, I'm announcing this with you for the first time. Shiros, who is our video producer from Metaphysical Hub, she's wanted to interview me for a long time, because every time I do these interviews, it's an hour. I never have a chance to talk about all the things that I want to talk about.
Right.
So we're going to do a new series that is probably going to span like about 6 to 8 different parts. And I'm going to share everything that's happened to me since I started my spiritual journey in my early 20s. Now it's 67. So the first part will be about some special past lives that have come up, so it'll be kind of like personal stories, information, things that have come up. I'm going to spill the beans on everything. So that'll be a new series we're going to start there.
Oh, I'd
And
love to
plus,
hear about it.
right. So, it's like any ideas that come, I'm ready to go with them.
So as we're winding up, normally I would ask, is there anything that I haven't brought up that you'd like to talk about in closing? But I'm being guided to ask if Portal has anything to say in closing, a message, words,
Uh,
information.
yes, he says the world is going to shift very soon to um, he's reminding me of special months I got, an exercise everybody could do. So, in your next meditation that you do, visualize in your mind during that meditation, what would the world look like according to you if everything was at peace and harmony and everybody loved each other? How would the world look like? Do a meditation about that, like for 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day. And then guess what? One day you're going to wake up and you're going to look around and you're going to go, my God, what I was visualizing, it's all around us. We can co create that through the geometric multiple power of our vision of seeing that peaceful future. I know it's on the way. Okay. Don't listen. He's saying, don't listen to the major media or all this stuff they're telling you. Listen inwardly and see that positive future. We are en route to having that happen. And I would say, and I feel this strongly, and I'm wrong sometimes, but before the end of this year, major stuff's going to happen where you'll know definitely it's in the process. It's going to happen. It's going to take time till we get to that point, but we're in the process of it happening.
Well, and it's already started, from what my
Definitely.
understanding. So it's just going to envelop or unravel. I'm not quite sure of the right terminology to use for this, but it will start showing itself more and more as
And
time
and
goes on.
and it is how many of these politicians are resigning and movie stars. Something strange is going on there. So we do have signs that definitely the world is going forward. But all of us who feel we're on a spiritual path or light workers, hold that energy of that future inside of yourself. That's the message believe he's saying. Hold that energy. Don't give up. Use the word no. Don't give your power away. And be a visible example for others of someone living peacefully.
Josh, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Thank your, how do you say, portage à luz?
You say it better than me. I like it. Portal de Luz. You're saying
So,
it kind of like French.
well, it's funny. I just learned a new modality, and there's some Portuguese in it. And so instead of de, it's je,
Yeah,
je. So it's and luz. So portal de geluz is
great.
how
He
I would
likes it.
say that.
He likes it.
Good. I'm happy he likes it. And thank your, the rabbi.
The rabbi.
And who else did I miss to say thank you for being on the
No, it
show?
was Portal de Luz and the rabbi. That was it.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to thank Bridget for all she does to get the show on every week, whether I'm able to make it or not because I'm traveling. So Bridget, my right hand, my left hand, thank you. So grateful to you. I'm grateful for you, the listening audience, for all you do, for being a part of the show. Whether you're listening to it live, play, I am so grateful because it's because of you that this show is now in the top 100 best spiritual podcasts. So thank you. I want to let you know that if you like the show, like it, subscribe to it. We've got some more amazing metaphysicians, spiritual leaders coming on the show, and I know you're not going to want to miss them. So subscribe, like. If there's somebody you want to see, or is there a technique you'd like to learn, or some philosophy that's popping up, email me at guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. We will respond by trying to find that perfect individual or modality to present to you. So thank you very much. And as I leave you, and I ask, what am I doing? Check out my website at MarlaGoldberg with 2Rs.com. See what I do, how I can work with you. Um, I just love working with each and every one of you who are in my current client roster and who are called to work with me, for it is this combined effort that we do together so that we can work together to get you the life you're divinely meant to live. So, which is all full of love and prosper and abundance and joy and great health. Let's not forget the health because that's important. And as I leave you, as always, I send you love, blessings, and gratitude. I'm so grateful that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. For not only are you my student, you are my teacher. And not only am I your teacher, I am your student. So thank you for all you do and what you bring to me. I also want to say these words to you. So if you haven't heard them, you'll hear them now. And if you have heard them, you're going to hear them again. And those words are, I love you. You are loved. You are not just loved by me. You are not just loved by your family and friends and beings on this side of the veil, but you are loved by all of those that are on the other side of the veil, who want to help you, who want you to succeed, who want you to do the best and be the best. So here's the trick. Have them start conspiring on your behalf because they don't have free will. Ask them for what you need. Ask them for what you want. And they will show up. May not be in the way you think it might. You need to be open to the results, but they will show up. They will bring to you filling the need, desire that you are wanting here and now. Okay. Until next week, as always, stay well. And once again, I'm